In a small village nestled deep within the lush green hills of Uganda, there lived a man named Kato. Kato was a wealthy farmer known for his bountiful harvests and the vast land he owned. He lived in a large house with his wife, Amina, who was loved by everyone in the village for her kindness and beauty. Amina had been a devoted wife to Kato for many years. She worked tirelessly alongside him, supporting his endeavors and managing their home with grace and diligence. Their life together seemed like a fairy tale to the outside world, but beneath the surface, a storm was brewing. One fateful day, Kato decided to take a second wife. Her name was Nyara, a young woman from a neighboring village. Nyara was strikingly beautiful and full of life, and Kato was instantly captivated by her charm. The village buzzed with rumors and excitement as Kato prepared to bring Nyara into his home. Amina's heart sank when she learned of Kato's decision. Though polygamy was not uncommon in their culture, she couldn't help but feel a pang of sorrow and betrayal. However, out of respect for her husband and the traditions of their people, Amina accepted Nyara into their household. From the moment Nyara arrived, everything changed. Kato, who once showered Amina with love and affection, now seemed to have eyes only for his new wife. He spent his days doting on Nyara, while Amina was pushed aside, her presence barely acknowledged. It wasn't long before Kato's treatment of Amina grew worse. He began to impose cruel duties upon her, tasks that were far beneath her status as his first wife. Amina was forced to clean, cook, and tend to every need of Kato and Nyara, from dawn until dusk. Her hands, once soft and gentle, became rough and calloused from the endless labor. Amina's friends and neighbors watched in sorrow as she toiled day and night, her spirit diminishing with each passing day. But despite the hardship, Amina's heart remained strong. She found solace in the little moments of joy, a gentle breeze through the banana trees, the laughter of children playing nearby, and the memory of happier times. Nyara, though pampered and adored, began to feel uneasy. She saw the cruelty with which Kato treated Amina and felt a growing sense of guilt. Despite her initial excitement at marrying into wealth, she could not ignore the suffering of her sister wife. One evening, as the sun set and the village prepared for the night, Amina sat by the fire, her hands trembling from exhaustion. Nyara approached her cautiously, her eyes filled with remorse. "Amina," Nyara began, her voice soft and hesitant, "I see the pain you endure, and it breaks my heart. I did not come here to cause you sorrow. I wish there was something I could do to ease your burden." Amina looked up, her eyes weary but still kind. "You are not to blame, Nyara. It is Kato who has forgotten the vows we made. I only wish for peace in my heart and in our home." Nyara's resolve hardened. She could no longer stand idly by while Amina suffered. She decided to confront Kato and plead for compassion. The next morning, she found him in the fields, inspecting the crops. "Kato," Nyara called out, her voice steady. "We need to talk." Kato turned, surprised by her tone. "What is it, Nyara?" "You must stop this cruel treatment of Amina. She is your wife, the mother of your children. She deserves respect and kindness, not this endless torment." Kato's face darkened with anger. "You do not understand our ways, Nyara. Amina must earn her keep." But Nyara stood firm. "I may be new to this home, but I know what is right and wrong. Amina has given everything to you, and yet you repay her with suffering. This must end." Kato's rage was palpable, but Nyara's words had planted a seed of doubt in his mind. He turned away, conflicted, as Nyara walked back to the house, determined to find a way to help Amina. As the days passed, Nyara and Amina grew closer, forming an unlikely bond in their shared plight. Together, they began to devise a plan to restore harmony to their lives and find a way to soften Kato's hardened heart. Yet, Kato remained unmoved by Nyara's pleas and Amina's silent endurance. His harshness only grew, casting a long shadow over the once happy household. The villagers whispered among themselves, wondering how long Amina could endure such suffering. And so, the story of Amina and Nyara, and their struggle against Kato's cruelty, continued to unfold, deep in the heart of Africa, where the strength of women and the spirit of resilience shone brighter than the darkest nights. The sun rose over the village, casting golden light upon the fields and waking the roosters from their slumber. Life went on, but for Amina, each day felt heavier than the last. Kato's relentless demands and harsh treatment left her exhausted, yet she continued to bear her burdens with silent grace. One morning, as Amina prepared breakfast, a knock on the door startled her. Standing in the doorway was Makena, the village elder known for her wisdom and deep connection to the ancestral spirits. Her eyes, sharp and knowing, took in the sight of Amina's worn face and the austere look of the once warm home. "Amina," Makena greeted her softly. "I have come to see you. May I enter?" Amina nodded and stepped aside to let Makena in. The elder sat by the hearth, her presence filling the room with a calm, commanding aura. She motioned for Amina to join her. "I have heard of your troubles, child," Makena began, her voice gentle but firm. "The spirits of our ancestors have spoken to me. They are troubled by the suffering in this house." Amina lowered her eyes, her heart heavy with the weight of her sorrow. "I do not know what to do, Makena. Kato has changed. He is no longer the man I married." Makena reached out and took Amina's hands, her touch warm and reassuring. Sometimes, when people stray from their true path, it takes more than just words to bring them back. The spirits have guided me to you because they believe in your strength and the goodness that still lies within Kato. Amina looked up, a flicker of hope in her eyes. "What can I do, Makena? How can I find the strength to change things?" Makena smiled, a wise glint in her eyes. "You must remember who you are, Amina. You are not just a wife or a mother. You are a woman of great power and resilience. The spirits have a plan for you. Listen to them, and they will guide you." With that, Makena rose and placed a small pouch of herbs and stones into Amina's hands. "These are blessed by the ancestors. Keep them close, and they will give you the courage and strength you need." Amina clutched the pouch tightly, feeling a surge of determination flow through her. As Makena left, Amina stood taller, a newfound resolve taking root within her heart. That evening, as the household settled into their routines, Amina prepared a special tea using the herbs Makena had given her. She carefully brewed it, whispering prayers to the ancestors for their guidance and protection. She served the tea to Kato, hoping the ancient magic would soften his heart. Kato, weary from his day in the fields, drank the tea without a second thought. As the warm liquid coursed through his veins, he felt an unfamiliar sensation, a gentle stirring of memories long buried. He saw visions of the early days of his marriage to Amina, when their love was pure and his heart was full of joy. The memories were bittersweet, a stark contrast to the cold reality he had created. Kato's face softened, and for the first time in many months, he looked at Amina with a flicker of the old tenderness in his eyes. But the moment was fleeting, and his hardened demeanor quickly returned, though now tinged with an undercurrent of doubt. Days turned into weeks, and the household settled into a tense rhythm. Kato's treatment of Amina remained harsh, but Nyara continued to advocate for her sister wife, her pleas growing more insistent. She found subtle ways to ease Amina's burden, sharing the household chores, offering quiet words of encouragement, and standing by her side against Kato's wrath. Amina, emboldened by the support of Nyara and the blessing of the ancestors, began to find her voice. She no longer cowered under Kato's harsh words. Instead, she met his gaze with a quiet strength, a reminder of the woman she once was and could be again. One evening, as a storm brewed outside, Amina and Nyara sat together, their bond stronger than ever. The thunder rumbled in the distance, echoing the turmoil in their hearts. "Amina," Nyara said softly, "I have been thinking. We cannot continue to live like this. There must be a way to reach Kato, to make him see the pain he is causing." Amina nodded, her eyes reflecting the flickering firelight. Makena spoke of the spirit's guidance. "Perhaps we must call upon them again, seek their wisdom in finding a way forward." Together, they devised a plan to visit the sacred grove at the edge of the village, a place where the ancestral spirits were said to dwell. It was a place of deep magic and powerful energy, where prayers were heard and hearts could be healed. As the storm raged on, Amina and Nyara prepared to leave, their hearts filled with a mix of fear and hope. They knew the path ahead would be challenging, but they were determined to find a way to restore peace and harmony to their lives. With the first light of dawn, they set out on their journey, their steps guided by the whispers of the ancestors and the unwavering bond they had forged. The road was long and fraught with uncertainty, but they pressed on, driven by the belief that somewhere, deep in the heart of Africa, a better future awaited them. And so, the tale of Amina and Nyara continued, unfolding like the delicate petals of a flower, each moment bringing them closer to the answers they sought and the redemption they longed for.